Hey, how's it going? Today I am talking about training for a RunDisney race as an injury-prone runner or somebody who's struggled with injuries in the past. This is Running to the Castle, a podcast for injury-prone RunDisney runners on a journey to running magical miles. Join me, Dr. Allie, as I share the secrets I've gathered as a runner, doctor of physical therapy, and coach. You'll learn the exact ways I get my clients to the castle strong without feeling broken or held together with KT tape as they cross the finish line. Okay, so I am talking about the training phase of a running journey. If you're not sure what I mean about a running journey, go back and listen to the podcast episode I did about the phases of a running journey. Today we are specifically talking about the training portion of the 5 phases of a running journey. So this phase is when you are training for a specific race. And since I work with RunDisney runners, you are training for a specific RunDisney race. This means that you have your training plan that you downloaded from the internet, like one of mine from my website, dralliept.com, searching for all of the different races that you can find. You can go and get the 5K, 10K, 10 miler, half marathon, 2-course challenge, marathon, goofy, and dopey training plans. And those training plans are specifically designed for injury-prone RunDisney runners or runners who have been struggling with injuries in the past. And I do that because first and foremost, I have a background in physical therapy. I went to physical therapy school at Ithaca College, graduated, got licensed. I specifically graduated with my doctor of physical therapy degree, got licensed in 2012, and have been working with clients ever since. I'm also a runner, and I see so many runners out there have injuries that they could avoid if they just knew what to do right and what to stop doing. So that's where I'm coming from and why I created the training plans that I did the way I did. And I'm going to talk about that specifically today. Okay, so in the training phase, like I just mentioned, you're training for a specific race. So at the time of recording this, you could be training for Springtime Surprise. You could have just finished Princess. So maybe you're not in the training phase just yet. If you're going to be doing the Disneyland Halloween half marathon weekend, those training plans, if you're doing the half marathon or 2-course challenge, those training plans are probably starting July. Nope. June 1. That's when my training plans would start. And they start at a 5K distance. So they assume you can run a 5K. So if you can't run a 5K yet, that would be what you're working on now. And by run a 5K yet, I mean run it without pain. So you should be able to run the whole 5K distance by the time you start training for the Disneyland Halloween half marathon weekend or whatever Disney race you're running next. So let's talk about all of what your training plan should encompass. So it must have rest days. If you're skipping out on rest days and you're injury prone or struggling with injuries, stop that right now. You need rest days. Rest is when your body heals. So rest days and getting rest at night, sleeping. Your body heals when you're resting, specifically when you're sleeping, but also taking a day off. And that's a complete rest day. Like maybe you're doing some yoga and some light stretching, but you're not cross training, you're not strength training. Rest is rest. So at least 2 rest days. Then you also need to be cross training. So 2 cross training days. Now I'm specifically talking about half marathon and 2-course challenge training. If you're doing goofy or dopey, it is a little bit different. I have you running a little bit more. So rest days maybe 1 or 2, or cross training maybe 1 or 2, depending. So for clarity's sake, I'm talking about half marathon or 2-course challenge, 5K, 10K, 10 miler distances, not the ones that include marathons. Okay. So we have 2 rest days. We have 2 cross training days. So that takes up 4 days now. And then you are going to have 3 running days. Now, of those 3 running days, one is a long run day, and then the others are speed work days. And speed work could be race pace training. It could be progression runs. It could be tempo training. It could be hills. It could be my favorite for somebody doing intervals, a 30-20-10, which means that you are jogging for 30 seconds, you are running for 30 seconds, and you are sprinting for 10 seconds. Now, before you get nervous, when I use those terms, I use them very, very loosely. Basically, what you want to do is you want to do your slowest speed at 30 seconds. So for most people, that's a jog. It could be a walk. That's fine. And then you want your second speed to be a little bit faster than your slowest. And you do that for 20 seconds. And then your fastest speed is for 10 seconds. So slow, middle, fast. 30 seconds, 20 seconds, 10 seconds. And then you recover for 2 minutes and you do however many rounds of that you do in the amount of time you have. So my clients do their short runs as anywhere between 30 to 45 minutes, depending on how much time they have. Those are typically their weekday workouts. So we look at how much time they have. And I'd say the majority of my clients can guarantee do an hour workout during the week. So if they are doing their short run in the week and they're not doing their strength training right after that, we still need 10 to 15 minutes of stretching. So their speed workout could be 45 minutes and still have enough time for 15 minutes of stretching. If they want to do their short workout and strength, well, that could be 30 minutes and 30 minutes. We still need 15 minutes of stretching. So an hour wouldn't cover it. They would need a little bit more time. So those training sessions, the length of time depends on how much time you have. I do recommend really no shorter than 30 minutes because you have a 10-minute warm up and a 10-minute cool down. So then you have 10 minutes in between for the speed work, which is fine. That's no problem. I know for me, I wouldn't be doing anything less than that because then 5 minutes of a workout to me, I wouldn't like that. That wouldn't be a preference for me. And then on your cross training days, that for somebody doing half marathon, 2-course challenge, anything less than the marathon distance races would be 30 minutes. You could do 45 if you wanted. I recommend just sticking with 30 minutes because you really don't need more than that. So if you're injury prone or struggling with injury, let's just start off with a lesser amount. Do 30 minutes. Cross training. Definition of cross training here is something that exercises your cardiovascular system in a similar way as running would. So your cardiovascular system is your blood system, your heart, your lungs. So cross training in this instance is not strength training. Strength training is strength training. Strength training is not cross training. Yes, strength training is important. It's a different importance. Cross training, you are training your heart and lungs to have the endurance to go the amount of time you need them to go. And you're doing that in a way that won't overwork your muscles, your ligaments, your joints, and your tendons the same way that running does. So it could be walking. It would usually have to be a fast walk because if you're training your cardiovascular system, it has to be a little bit faster. It could be riding a bike. It could be the rowing machine. It could be playing another sport, basketball, soccer, pickleball, tennis, because you're getting your heart rate up, you're breathing heavier, but you're not working your muscles the same way you are as when you're running. Did I mention riding a bike yet? That's a great one. Using an elliptical, taking a spin class. I know that's riding a bike too, but some people separate those in their mind, like spin class, stationary bike, riding a bike outside. So I specifically name them separately in case you're somebody who does think of those separately. So that's cross training. It could also be hiking. Don't want to forget mentioning that one. And then, like I said, rest days are rest days. You're running. I already mentioned speed work. Then you also have your long run. Your long run, the goal of a long run is time on your feet. So it should be slow. You want to make sure that you're running. When you are running, you're following a specific goal for each run. So a long, easy run is time on your feet. So don't think about trying to PR or get a best or do better than you did last time. Just think about time on your feet. Ideally, it's 30% slower than race pace. So if you're not sure how to do that or what that means, send me a DM on Instagram, runDisneyDPT. Happy to point you in the right direction on a description of really how to figure that out. The easiest way I can talk about it is if you, for just numbers' sake, because this is easy to do the math for, you probably aren't these speeds. I'm not these speeds, but it's easy for the math. Let's say your race pace is 10 minutes per mile. Your long run pace would be 13 minutes per mile because 10% of 10 minutes is 1 minute. Multiply that by 3, that's 3 minutes. And then you add that to your pace to make it 30% slower. So 10 plus 3 is 13. So 13 minutes per mile would be your long run pace, your easy run pace. So the goal of the long run, like I said, is time on your feet. So you want to go super duper slow. Goal of the short runs is working on speed or maintaining a pace. So the 30, 20, 10, that's working on speed. A progression, that's working on speed. A tempo would be maintaining a pace. So tempo runs are any pace that's slower than race pace and faster than your long run pace. So if your long run pace is 13 minutes per mile, a tempo run could be 12 minutes per mile. It could be that you're just trying to hold that pace for your whole run. That could be a speed workout because then you're getting your body adjusted and getting your body to know what 12 minute per mile feels like, or get your body to be able to handle running faster, but not race pace, for some amount of time. Hills could be a type of speed workout because it's working your muscles differently to improve their ability to propel you forward and upward because hills are hard. Talked about cross training, talked about your short runs, talked about your long runs. Rest days are rest days. Make sure you're stretching after every run. And you want to include strength workouts. Strength workouts during your training phase are going to be kind of maintenance strength work. So you did the build phase where you built up strength and you aimed to get your muscles stronger and stronger and stronger over the course of months. Now you're in maintenance phase. So I don't want to say you're doing the bare minimum, but you're kind of doing the bare minimum. You need to strength train to maintain that strength that you gained, but you're not looking to get stronger as you're training. You're looking to build endurance as you're training. So you want to keep going at a moderate level for strength training, but not pushing it to your max every workout or every week. Okay? So let's go back to talking about the long run and following the 10% rule, because one of the reasons why I created my training plans the way I did was because everybody hears about the 10% rule. You see people talking about it all the time. But I don't think most people actually know what that looks like from a training perspective. So the most common, the most popular training plan for Run Disney runners is a Jeff Galloway plan. I'm not here saying that Jeff Galloway's plan is good or bad. It's fine. It just depends on, is it good for you? And if you're injury prone or struggling with an injury, that's probably not the training plan for you. It could be a training plan for somebody else. It's a fine training plan. But for somebody who's injury prone or struggling with an injury, it doesn't follow the 10% rule. So it's not going to be the best training plan out there for you. If you look at those training plans, specifically look at the long run, because those training plans typically keep the middle of the week run at 30 or 45 minutes. So as long as you're keeping your pace pretty much the same, those distances stay the same. So for ease, we'll just talk about the long run. Most weeks for those training plans, you're adding a mile to every long run. So if we're talking about the 10% rule, if we go back to math, 10%, like 1 mile is 10% of 10 miles. So if you are running anything less than 10 miles, adding 1 mile, it's more than 10%. If you're adding 2 miles every long run, 2 miles is 10% of 20 miles. So if you're running anything less than 20 miles and you're adding 2 miles to your long run, that is more than 10%. And for a half marathon training plan or a 2-course challenge training plan, which I base my training plans for the 2-course challenge off of the half marathon distance, because that's the longest distance in the 2-course challenge. The longest run you should be running is 10 miles. So you should never be adding a mile to your long run, because 10 miles is your longest. 10% of 1 mile is 0.1 miles. 10% of 2 miles is 0.2 miles. 10% of 3 miles is 0.3 miles. 10% of 4 miles is 0.4 miles. 10% of 5 miles is 0.5 miles. 10% of 6 miles is 0.6 miles. 10% of 7 miles is 0.7 miles. 10% of 8 miles is 0.8 miles. 10% of 9 miles is 0.9 miles. And 10% of 10 miles is 1 mile. So those are the increments that it needs to go up. So if you're not sure how much you should be increasing each week, send me a DM, runDisney DPT on Instagram, and we can talk about how to work together, and I can develop a custom training plan specific to you, your running history, and your running injury needs. Because you need the right training plan to progressively increase those miles every week without getting hurt. And it should feel so easy to add miles each week. You should feel like, oh my gosh, this is easy peasy. I want to run more, but have the discipline to not run more. Because it's the running more and running too much and doing too much and overtraining that gets you into trouble. So adding 10%, it's like adding 10% is like the Greek mythology Milo, where he needs to bring a full-grown pig up a mountain. And so what he does is he takes a baby piglet and takes him up the mountain every single day. So the pig gets bigger every single day, but Milo gets stronger every single day, and it gets bigger and he gets stronger in small enough increments that he never notices. But by the end of however long he has to train to take this pig up the mountain, he's significantly stronger, and now he can take a full-grown pig up the mountain, and he never even noticed the difference. That's how your training should be every week. You should incrementally increase your miles so slowly that you don't notice a difference. And then for my clients, every 5 weeks, I have them do a deload week or a taper week. So every 5th week, they taper down just a little bit to give their body some time to recover. It allows for hiccups to happen. Did you skip a week? Did you get sick? Did school vacation come and so you weren't able to work out? Did you get busy at work so you couldn't do the long run? Did this happen? Did that happen? That way you have it worked in there that if you miss something, no problem. And also to give your body some time to adjust as you continue to increase. So that's the way training plans in my world work. And my clients are very successful doing it, and they end up wanting to keep running and training. I had one client who did Dopey 2023 and Princess 2023. After Dopey, she didn't want to do a single training run. She did one training run before Princess and was like, yep, okay, cool, I can still do it. And then the following year when we worked together, because we didn't work together until May after that Dopey, we worked together from May through Dopey, through Princess, through Springtime Surprise, which at the time of this recording will be in the future. But when she was done with Dopey 2024, she's like, all right, great, I'm ready to go. I want to keep going. She wasn't burnt out. She wasn't injured. She couldn't wait to keep running. And that's because of the way the training plan is structured. You don't get burnt out. You don't get injured. You want to keep going. And you're not nervous about the next run. Oh, is this run going to be the one that does in my knee, my shin splints, my calf pain, whatever it is? You know that you can do it because it's a small increase. Okay, that's all I have for you today about training plans. If you're looking for a specific training plan for a RunDisney race, go ahead and check out my website. I have some training plans specific to injury-prone runners. They're on there. Go ahead and download, pick your race weekend, pick the race distance that you're training for, sign up for them. If you're looking for customized individual training plans, that's what I do with my clients. Training plans, strength training. We look at the whole picture to individualize it to you, customize it to you, what your running history is, what your injury history is, so that you can run, cross the finish line, not feel broken, not feel like you need to be held together with KT tape. We can do that either on a one-on-one status, or if it's coming up on race training coming up, I have group training for specific races. So you can send me a DM on Instagram, runDisneyDPT, to ask where to learn more information about that, or check it out on my website. As always, thanks so much for listening. If you have a question, send me a DM. You can find me on Instagram, runDisneyDPT. That's all for now. Talk to you soon.